Good evening. This is Akashvani Kohima. I am Jonas Yantan with Evening News. And the headlines. Corruption and patronage were our worst killers of young innovative minds, says Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. Supreme Court strikes down electoral bond scheme for political funding. Nagaland introduces tobacco vendor licensing. And Union Women and Child Development Ministry official flags concern over decline in child adoption in Nagaland. Now to news in detail. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar said corruption and patronage are the worst killers of young innovative minds and are antithetical to merit and stability. Addressing the 125th Founders' Day celebrations of the Hindu College in Delhi, he said young people hate corruption because they feel cheated by nepotism and favoritism. Noting recent reforms in the governance ecosystem, Dhankar highlighted that power corridors have now been fully sanitized of corrupt elements and a transparent, accountable system is in place. He added that this is a time when meritocracy prevails and youth can aspire and fulfill their dreams and fully exploit their potential. The Vice President stressed that equality before law is the most inalienable feature, quintessential to democratic governance. Dhankar emphasized that it is the prime obligation of all, particularly those in power and authority, to set an example by showing respect for the law. Supreme Court has struck down the electoral bond scheme for political funding. A 5-judge bench of the Apex Court said that the scheme violates the citizens' right to information. Supreme Court also asked State Bank of India to stop issuing these bonds at once and provide details of donations made through this mode to the Election Commission of India. The Apex Court held that a stated objective of fighting black money and maintaining confidentiality of donors cannot defend the scheme. Electoral bonds are not the only way to curb black money, it said. The scheme, which was notified by the government on January 2, 2018, was pitched as an alternative to cash donations made to political parties as part of the efforts to bring in transparency in political funding. Only the political parties registered under Section 29A of the Representation of People's Act 1951 and which secured not less than 1% of the votes polled in the last elections to the Lok Sabha or a state legislative assembly were eligible to receive electoral bonds. Nagaland has introduced tobacco vendor licensing in a bid to tackle the alarming rates of tobacco use and cancer incidents in the state. Under the system, urban local bodies, ULPs, will grant permit to retail shops selling tobacco or nicotine to enhance the enforcement of Cigarettes and Other Tobacco Products Act 2003 and make licensing policy mandatory for tobacco vendors. This is aimed at curtailing illicit trade and boosting revenue to the civic body. For license, interested retailers can apply to ULPs, which will issue it within 2 months. The license will be valid for 1 year and renewable. It will not be granted to vendors in areas within a radius of 300 feet of educational institutes, youth-oriented or residential sites, or those operating by roadside. Tobacco vendor license is non-transferable and municipal councils will have the right to penalize or cancel the permit for any breach of terms. Deputy Director of Central Adoption Resource Authority (CARA) under Women and Child Development Ministry, Richa Ojha, expressed concern over the decline in adoption of children in Nagaland. She was addressing the Nagaland State Orientation Training on Adoption Regulations 2022 in Kohima today. Noting that CARA aims to promote in-country adoptions and facilitate state adoptions, Ojha said, the authority is actively working to incorporate 2 new categories of children into the process. The first includes children of unfit parents, such as those mentally challenged or serving jail sentences and lack social support systems. The second involves children in child care institutions whose parents or guardians have not visited them for over a year. Guidelines have been circulated to all districts for identifying such children in addition to those abandoned, orphaned and surrendered. Meanwhile, OJA introduced CARA's foster care module that will allow fit families willing to provide temporary care to be considered for placement. She emphasized the positive role played by foster care in providing a nurturing environment before adoption. OJA also emphasized the crucial role of the state and district missionaries and all agencies as the feet and hands of the ministry. Delivering the keynote address, Social Welfare Director and CEO and Member Secretary of State Adoption Resource Agency, Tosheli Zumomi, acknowledged Nagaland's prevalent kinship adoption practices, but noted that while the community often takes collective responsibility of the less fortunate, there are limitations and challenges to ensure the best interests of the child in every case. Zumomi further highlighted the far-reaching societal impacts of adoption. This news comes to you from Akashvani, Kohima. You can also listen to this news bulletin on News on Air app and YouTube channel AIR News Kohima. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur has said that India is going to be the hub of broadcasting sector. He stressed that the industry must explore next-generation broadcasting by adopting cutting-edge and sustainable technologies while focusing on localized contents to cater every strata of society and enrich the user experience. Inaugurating the BSE Expo 2024 in New Delhi today, Thakur said it is imperative to strengthen the public sector broadcasting. He said media landscape is witnessing transformative change with consumption patterns of viewers and audience rapidly changing. Thakur therefore asked the broadcasting industry to adapt to the changes through technological innovations and good content. Various assisted living devices were distributed today to beneficiaries under Rashtriya Vayushri Yojana (RVY) in Longling. The event was organized by the Union Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment and aimed at enhancing the quality of life for senior citizens by providing essential devices used to improve mobility and independence. Union Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment, Dr. Virendra Kumar, attended the program as chief guest. Addressing the event, Deputy Commissioner Longling Tharamraj emphasized the government's commitment towards the welfare of senior citizens and the importance of schemes like RVY in achieving that goal. The event was held with the collaborative efforts of the implementing agency, LIMCO, Social Welfare Department Longling, and the district administration. Union Minister of State for Steel and Rural Development, Fakan Singh Kulaste, has reviewed centrally funded schemes and development works carried out by different departments in Mukokchung. The Union Minister arrived in Mukokchung yesterday. He was accompanied by Minister for Rural Development and SIRT, Metsubu Jamir, and Deputy Commissioner Mukokchung, Tsovise Pochi. During the day, Kulaste also addressed a meeting with the head of offices within the district. And in sports, Penjak Silat made its debut at the Nagaland Olympic and Paralympic Games 2024 today in Dimapur. The event saw participation of 72 players from 6 districts with 14 technical officials. The inclusion of the martial art discipline aims to raise youth awareness about the harmful effects of drug abuse and other undesired substances. It also seeks to create employment opportunity and other relevant prospects for the players. And now to end the news, here are the headlines again. Corruption and patronage are worst killers of young innovative minds, says Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. Supreme Court strikes down Electoral bond scheme for political funding. Nagaland introduces tobacco vendor licensing. And Union Women and Child Development Ministry official flags concern over decline in child adoption in Nagaland. That is all we have in this evening news bulletin. Good night.